With our data in place, we're now in a position to do the calculated entries for average, weighted average, and the letter grade. Now I have the cell pointer on L6, that's column L, row 6, and that's where we're going to do the initial calculation for the first row of the table, which is the convention when you're doing calculations with spreadsheets. You treat the first entry as a typical entry, and then you generalize to the other rows. So we'll do this calculation for Bob's scores. Now, as you recall, a cell entry that begins with a letter is text data. A cell entry that starts with a number is numeric data, and it turns out that a cell that starts with an equal sign, and I'm going to type an equal sign right now on cell L6, a cell that starts with an equal sign indicates that you're going to do a function calculation or a formula. Now, the formula for doing an average is pretty straightforward. It's equals average and left parenthesis, and we read the left parentheses as of. So you'd read this equals average of, and then inside that parenthesis, we want to click on homework 1 for Bob and drag across. See how it's highlighting these entries with the green marquee? So that's indicating that we want the average of cell B6 colon K6, B6 through K6. I'll enter a closing parenthesis and then hit enter. And that completes the calculation. So again, looking at that formula, I'll click back on the 20.4, and you'll note that in the address line, we have the function equals average of cell B6 through, that's how you read the colon, through K6 close parenthesis. Okay, and then to apply this to the subsequent rows, remember we position the pointer over the grab box in the lower right hand corner and drag down, and voila, we've calculated the averages for Ted, Carol, and Alice. And if you click on each one of those cells and look at the address line, you'll note that the row entry has been updated. Spreadsheets are smart enough to know that when you drag a function down, when you apply it to other cells, that it should update the coordinate. Down would be rows and across would be columns. Now, just taking a look at these values, obviously Bob had an 88 on the midterm and the final and reasonably decent grades for the other assessments. He really shouldn't be in the F range, which is a 20.4. So it really doesn't make a lot of sense to use a straight average, but believe it or not, a lot of teachers don't know how to do what we're going to do next, which is a weighted average. They just count everything the same to make it easy to grade, and then they just do a straight average. The problem is that, again, in formative assessments, you want to give the kids some elbow room to learn and to make mistakes, and you don't necessarily want to count everything the same when they're in the process of learning. So what we'll turn to in the next video is the weighted average calculation, which is perceived as being a little bit fairer to students and parents alike.